All right, welcome to the first episode of Watching Waltham. This is Bill Hanley, your host, candidate for Ward 2 Waltham City Council.
Sean Hanley, co-host.
Michael DeStefano with Caldwell Banker, local real estate agent.
Celeste Woodside.
Thank you for being here. Just to get some housekeeping things out of the way here, Watching Waltham, the first podcast about Waltham, Massachusetts. We are building a guest list based on what's going on in Waltham. We're going to try and have timely interviews with athletics, business, real estate, city council news, and of course, the Waltham High School construction project. I attended the city council meeting on Monday night. A couple of quick hot topics. One, by far the most attendees in the city council chamber was about the medical marijuana dispensary that's seeking a special permit.
Bill, can I ask you a question? Why is this even in front of the city council?
You need a special permit from the city council if you want to open a marijuana shop in the city of Waltham. There is a moratorium in place on marijuana shops that will expire on June 30th of this year or until a zoning ordinance is passed, whichever comes first. In this particular case, we have a dispensary that is prescription only, so you can't go in there off the street.
When are we getting a retail shop?
That's the point of contention. So a lot of the counselors asked questions of, you're opening a dispensary.
Ask questions to who?
To the representatives from the company that wants to open the dispensary, Middlesex Integrative Medicine. They gave two different answers when they were questioned. So one of their representatives said, we're dispensary all the way. And then one said, well, we're keeping our business options open. So I think that's what kind of led the city council to question them a little bit. The folks in attendance on Monday, overwhelming opposition to it. The Massachusetts Family Institute opposed to it in Waltham. It was just a well-organized, big group of attendees who were against it, especially in this case. I mean, Councilor Brasco did a great job running the meeting. But it was a public meeting, so he let anyone in opposition speak, anyone in support of it speak, and then anyone who wanted to speak as a neutral party. And then he also had anyone stand up and be recognized. So if you didn't want to speak, you could stand up in opposition or in support.
And where is this going?
300 2nd Ave.
If I wanted to speak, I should have gone Monday.
Should have gone there Monday. The school building committee and the school committee met jointly, and they voted as a unanimous group that we wanted to ask the city council for $1 million for an early site package, which is essentially funding we'd spend anyway to get the site ready for construction. Getting the design team in place so that as soon as you have clearance to build, you have your permits, you're ready to rock and roll.
And keep the project moving forward and prevent any further delays.
There we go. So we're going to get to that later in the Waltham Citizens Strategy. Sean, you have a question?
No, that's fine. I'll wait.
All right, save your questions for that. So one regular part of this podcast is going to be a citywide athletics update, touching on both what's going on at the high school and all of our youth sports leagues, which is so popular in the city. I think this is one area this podcast can really take hold and fill a gap in the city, because I don't know if you guys know, but the News Tribune, which we all love so much and grew up with, no longer has a dedicated sports reporter. So they decided to take the business in a different direction, don't do a robust sports page anymore, and I think this podcast is really going to fill that gap. As a former News Tribune paperboy, I have to say this hits really close to home. The Tribune actually tweeted back at me and said that, they just decided to go in a different direction. So I think that's an area where we can fill a gap in the city. We can even bring back the Athlete of the Week, Athlete of the Month, and we'd invite them into the podcast. So anyone interested, give us a shout out, watchingwaltham.com, or on the Facebook page, drop a comment. Something new I also got involved in, I got elected to the Gridiron Club's Board of Trustees. Gridiron Club is for football and cheering, so it's the booster club for that program. Gridiron Club does do fundraising year-round. We have a couple coming up. I know football season is a ways away, but we do raise funds year-round. We'll have a $10,000 raffle and a brand new fundraising campaign we're starting. The working title is Friday Night Light Fundraising, and I'll be talking about that in future podcasts for sure. It's very exciting. I'm sure you guys know, or at least remember, Deb Riggett, the longtime Waltham High School Athletic Department trainer. I'd like to congratulate her on her retirement after 32 years in the school district. Congratulations, Deb, and I hope you enjoy your retirement. The baseball team's got a couple fundraisers going. They're going to do a wiffle ball fundraiser tournament. We got a snap raise fundraiser going with the Waltham High School lacrosse program. They've already raised $2,700 of $4,000 goal. You can see those links flying around Facebook. Waltham Youth Baseball in full swing. We had our drafts. We got teams hitting the cages. The Babe Ruth League will start on April 22nd. And T-ball signups are still wide open. So if you're interested in playing T-ball, ages 4 and 5, still open online. Sean, I know we got the Waltham Youth Hockey Beanpot Tournament.
All day Saturday.
Mike, how the Reds looking this year? Major Reds.
Reds look solid, just waiting for be able to get on the fields.
Anything else before we move on from sports? Celeste, how the minor Cubs looking? Looking good? We're going to have to keep our eye on when the Cubs play the Dodgers. Thank you for listening to Watching Waltham. I do want to mention this episode's sponsor, real estate agent Mike DiStefano from Coldwell Banker. You can find him at MikeDProperties.com. Give him a call for all of your real estate needs. Watching Waltham, the first and only podcast about the Watch City. All right, podcast fans, now we're here with Celeste Woodside, co-founder of Waltham Citizens for Education. She's going to give us an update on the school building project at 554 Lexington Street.
This past Monday's school building committee meeting, the SBC talked about programming meetings that are currently being facilitated by the architects working on the project, SMMA, with the Waltham High School educators and staff. SMMA so far has facilitated 36 meetings over 5 days to listen to educators and staff about the design of the space while working within the guidelines of the Massachusetts School Building Authority. These are important meetings, and the SMMA was very excited that the input that they are getting from those that will be working day to day, that will delve into the details of the site and building design with SMMA have begun. These include exterior and interior design, furniture, fixtures, and equipment, etc. These work groups are made up of SBC, school committee, and Waltham High School educators and staff. Waltham Historical Commission is in receipt of the demolition delay submittal by SMMA, and there's a public hearing on April 8th at 7 p.m. at Government Center to discuss the matter. John, I bet you're wondering what. Lastly, the SBC is exploring more ways to solicit community input. They've reached out to the local access channel WCAC to ask them to broadcast SBC meetings, but have since been rejected. If anyone from the public has any input, you can forward it to the mayor's office. In the meantime, the superintendent's office is checking with the MSBA to see if public input portion can be added to SBC meetings. School committee meetings have a public portion where anyone can make comments.
Some of that was, I don't know what the hell SBC is, SMMA.
All right, the important thing to know.
What did we just find out?
The important thing to know is that the project is moving. So if you're worried, if you're concerned that your child is or isn't going to see this high school, this project is moving forward.
Okay.
And that's what we like to see at the SBC meetings. We like to see progress.
Now, I want to ask about some acronyms real quick.
Sure.
WCE.
WCE is Waltham Citizens for Education. We created this Facebook page as a way to, we're like, there's no central place for parents to discuss this issue. So we created.
This issue is the high school.
The high school.
That is the only issue for WCE, or is there others?
At the moment, it's the only issue.
That's the one.
WCE.
That's all we care about, right?
That's all we care about
I'm
right now.
with you on that.
Yeah. So we threw up this page and we're like, we'll invite our friends and we'll talk about the high school project. Thing we knew, we had over 1,500 members.
1,500.
1,500.
If you were to guess, what year would you say a group will go into that high school based on all this stuff we just read?
2024, if everybody.
2024?
If everyone plays nicely.
Mike's just looked up. Mike's has been known to make a wager once in a while. Mike said, if I said to you right now, I'll bet you the high school won't be in there by 2024. You taking that action or are you going on? So I'll take
the action.
I'll take 2025. You got 24 and under?
But I think the important thing to note is there hasn't been a slowdown in a while. Everything is going in the right direction.
Relatively speaking, because it was so slow for us.
Well, I mean, and perfectly honest, I graduated in 92 and it was old then. So being realistic.
We're taking any kind of progress.
Of course.
Stuff we're going to do.
Well, we didn't give anything yet.
These are steps that will need to be taken anyway once the project gets going. And these steps take about a year to complete, so getting ahead of them will save us time and significant costs. At that meeting, the matter was referred to the Committee of the Whole, which meets Monday, April 1st. At this meeting, the matter will be discussed and the Council of the Whole will make their recommendation that should see a final vote at the subsequent city council meeting on Monday, April 8th. A vote to approve this appropriation would keep the project on track for a hopeful opening of 2024.
That's the bet.
That's the bet. If the appropriation is not approved, it would delay the project by 1 year, and we could be looking at an opening of 2025 instead.
WCE, I would imagine, supports.
WCE supports this
They want the milk.
appropriation.
It sounds like, to me though, can I make a quick comment?
You just did.
Sounds like it's more of a pre-site package, like everything you just described is something you'd have, like, it should have been done already, or has to be before you can go there anyway, right?
What the school building committee is saying is, instead of waiting until the next phase is approved by the MSBA, we know we have to do these things and we can get on the land and get on the site and start doing them. So let's just get going. It'll save us a year. It's money we're going to spend anyway.
What do you want people to do?
I mean, I think it would be great if people.
What do I have to do to help out with this?
You could email your ward counselor or your at-large
Bill,
counselor.
who is my ward counselor?
So you are Ward 3. Ward 3 is
Yep,
George
I'll email
Darcy.
George.
But you got your 6 at-large councils.
Oh,
Let them know too.
Waltham was denied by the MSBA. They've been very generous with us with time as we've gone over this whole what site are we going to build the high school on, and it's delayed the process forever. When that delay is happening, those are years that the MSBA is not funding other communities' projects. So we're actually holding other people up. And if there are still people or counselors who think that this high school isn't going to go on this piece of land, they are also saying they're willing to give that money up, because MSBA is not going to say, okay, you want to move now, so we're happy to take your funding over there.
And what happens if that happens?
Then we go to the back of the line.
So eventually they're going to be, you guys got to get it together.
They've already kind of been, so they're looking for unity.
So
They're
there's
looking
emergency.
for a community and, local city government that's unified and getting this
And we're
project
getting
moving
there.
forward.
This has really polarized the city the last couple of years. I don't know of anybody who's opposed to a new high school being built. I know there is contention of where it's going to be built, and certainly contention of how much it's going to cost the Waltham taxpayers.
We've enjoyed low taxes here in Waltham, and the rainy day has come.
The other things we can't forget about is Waltham's infrastructure is old. We need police station, we need fire station. That project is progressing well on Moody Street, but we still have those aged public safety facilities on Lexington Street to deal with. But that's for another show. One thing I do want to mention about the high school and any delays. Sean, you're in the same boat as me. Our parents went to that building for high school. We went to that building for high school. And now my oldest son is in that building for high school. 3 generations right here in the same physical plant that is old and tired. And it can't support the way we educate students nowadays. We need a new facility to give these kids a competitive edge in the job market. They don't have the tech to train and learn. They don't have lab facilities.
So can we talk about some of this? That's pretty good. Celeste, what are some of the high points we're going to get with the new high school?
That is a huge issue. Can we cut that one?
I think we might have to wait for that for the next episode on that one, Sean. That's going to take a long time.
Have you?
Definitely, we encourage everyone listening to this podcast, and we'll put it on our show notes and on our various pages on where you can. That has become quite famous in the Commonwealth.
The ed plan?
The education plan written here in Waltham is likely, Celeste, I think I'm right here, going to be implemented by another town before we implement it here in the city of Waltham. Think of that. Our educational leaders here in Waltham wrote an education plan for our Waltham students. It's going to be implemented by another town before the city of Waltham.
When we got let into the MS, they said, don't come to us with a design plan. Come to us with an educational plan, and then design your school around that.
Okay.
So that's what it is.
Is this online somewhere?
Yeah, it is.
It is.
Yep.
So I think the summary sentence is delivering education is more important than the 4 walls in which it's delivered.
It does, but we want some new walls too.
Good walls.
We do.
Yeah.
We do want a wall.
But then the ed plan's the big one.
On a related note to this too, on future episodes, we'll definitely be discussing the impact of this construction to the neighborhood around 554 Lexington Street. So my backyard is 800 feet from the new Waltham High School property. There's going to be impact of the construction itself, blasting, noise, traffic, and we'll definitely be be touching those things on future episodes. Big impact to the neighborhood, especially abutters, will have to keep their eyes on. Going to impact the quality of life in the neighborhood during the construction. But at the end of the day, it's the best thing for the city, and it's the best thing for our kids. So more on that in future Watching Waltham episodes. Celeste, I want to thank you for everything you do. It's all volunteer. She doesn't get paid to help the students of Waltham, and she's doing that. Think of how awesome it would be to go through your 4 high school years in a brand new building. Sean and I don't know if you guys know this, but Sean and I are not only brothers, but we work together and have the same boss in our day jobs, and we work in a brand new building.
Pretty nice.
Sean busts my chops for it constantly, but I think that is a high point of going to work every day. Everything is comfortable, it's fresh and shiny and new. So thank you, Celeste, for that segment. We're going to have you back every episode. Keep reading those documents online. Sean, it's important. Read about the education plan. Know those acronyms.
Waltham Educational Constitution.
Got to know about these things. That's the first episode of Watching Waltham, the first and only podcast about raising a family in Waltham, Massachusetts. We're still going through some startup pain, and we have some technical kinks to work out, but we will improve every episode. New equipment is on its way, we have some experts helping tune us up, and we've already outlined episode 2. I want to thank my co-host, Sean Hanley. Our resident Waltham real estate expert, Mike DiStefano from Coldwell Banker. You can find him at MikeDProperties.com. Thank you to Celeste Woodside from Waltham Citizens for Education. That page is facebook.com/groups/Waltham Citizens for Education. Future episodes will have interviews with interesting people, regular updates on the Waltham High School project at 554 Lexington Street, updates on Waltham athletics, and important events and fundraisers around the city. We will always keep hot Waltham political topics and city council updates in view. We will have Waltham real estate discussion about the health of the Waltham home and rental market, first-time home buying in Waltham, and discuss the topic of affordable housing in our city. Please subscribe to the Watching Waltham podcast wherever you listen. We'll take any and all constructive tweets at Waltham Podcast, and you can always find us at watchingwaltham.com. Until our next Watching Waltham episode, this is Bill Hanley, candidate for City Council to represent my neighborhood, Ward 2. Thank you for listening. Bye now.